A swing straight down upon your head. You must defend or you'll end up dead. Which move is best to stop this blow? Is it Krone or Einhorn? Which one should we know? Hey friends, today I thought we would talk about defending your head. Not exactly best defense against aggressive opponent stuff from the last couple of videos, but very good techniques, and we want to look at and discuss what is a couple of things that we could do. And they're both good to know, but one of them has advantages over the other. So we're going to talk about Krone and Einhorn. And of course, Einhorn is German for one horn, which is unicorn, which is Latin. You know, what uni is one and corn. You understand. So, crowns and unicorns. That's the title of the video. And what does all that mean? Well, there are two different defenses against attacks that come straight down on the head. So you see the part in my hair? This is what we refer to in classes where you cut. Okay? The scalper, Scheitelhau, right? Or cut number 7 as we call it, based on British military saber, which we use the cutting directions for all of our classes just so that we have consistency, so you can use different systems and we can just refer to the cut and you know the direction by number. So that just helps our students. So you've seen in other videos where I've talked about numbering the cuts and different things like that. So for us, a number 7, a Scheitelhau. Now, a Scheitelhau isn't necessarily cleaving you to the teeth. It's not going to cut down through your skull specifically. I mean, a big swing like that, you'd probably be able to sidestep and knock it aside. You wouldn't have to worry. But a quick snap move, like a Scheitelhau, which is meant to cut into the scalp, lots of blood. If you get a scalp cut, you get a lot of blood. It goes in your eyes, you can't see. This is very bad for trying to fight if you've got blood in your eyes. So this is why Scheitelhau is very effective. And there are two different things that we can use. We can use a crown block, or we can use an Einhorn, a unicorn. Okay? Let me move back. I will explain. We will get the camera to focus. Okay. So let's say we were in a plow position or something like that, and suddenly someone wants to Scheitelhau, a snapping cut over to our scalp. The person is fairly well defended. Hands are up. They are covered. We need to stop this cut coming in. So, two options. One, crown, which is coming up in front of you and it's slightly tilted out, but you're catching it with the sword point straight up. All-purpose emergency defense against overhead cuts. Nothing wrong with it, except it leaves you open. When I am up here, and I'm going to hit the ceiling, okay, so I'll drop down a little bit. The sword is in front of my face. I'm trying to stop the attack. Here it comes. It's here. It's in. But look where I'm open. I'm vulnerable. And it's very easy for the sword to swing down, cut my arms, thrust my chest. We actually talk about Japanese technique, Nichohau, which if you are in this position, you can come down and cut to the arms. Okay? A wrist cut, essentially. You just swing, moving your wrists, pull, push, extend, and you're coming in. So when you're in the crown, it's not so easy to defend. So there's a different thing that you can do. And I've actually started mentioning this in intro programs because we think, okay, crown, you can do crown, and it's good to know. But if you can Einhorn, if you can do the unicorn and come out like this, so it's centered, so you stop it. You have to have your hands up. You don't want it in front of your face because the point will come down and cut your face. So you've got to be up and in front. So now it's like a unicorn's horn. Oh, okay, I get why they call it the unicorn. You're up, the sword blade is caught, it's above your head. The person is with the Scheitelhau is already extended. They can't really drop down with any force. So you're defended. Also, they have a little bit more difficulty getting in that wrist cut coming round. Okay? So when they need to come up, they've got to clear the guard and come over, and they have a bit more distance to travel. And if they have more distance to travel, that means it takes them more time, which then gives you more time to defend against that. So if I'm in an Einhorn and I'm here, it's pretty easy. Yeah, I'm here, but I've got to race the clock and I might get my arm hit. When I'm in the Einhorn, I can probably follow and keep the the sword to the outside. Remember my zone of defense? All I have to do is drop the sword down here. Okay? So it's a good position. But it also enabled me that if I catch it and my opponent hesitates, even that 1/10 of a second, the opponent is now open. Doing a Scheitelhau leaves you open. So if I block it with the Einhorn, I am in quick. So you imagine the opponent's sword is here. All I have to do is this simple little wrist cut maneuver, and I'm into their arms right away. Whereas if you were in a crown block and you try to do that, there's more distance to cover. And if there's more distance to cover, it takes you more time, which gives your opponent more time in order to defend. So if you want it to be a faster counter and you want to interrupt that attack, and you want to do the wrist cut before the opponent, then the Einhorn move is probably one that you should practice. So get used to intercepting like this. Also, I am not staring at the sword pommel in front of my face. I've got it above my head. I still have clear vision. So I really have come to say to students, and for my own training, I don't want to go straight up into this crown block anymore. If I panic, I don't panic generally when fighting. I have ideas, it's calculated, I go. But yeah, I could just throw the sword straight up, slightly point forward. Other problem that we have is if we only catch a bit of the point. I'm going to use the saber for this. If we only catch a little bit of the point, okay, cut comes down, I'm up. It's a quick withdrawal and thrust. So we catch it very close to the end of the blade, very close to the point. What's going to happen is we are now in a position to have a thrust dip right under, and we've got to do a lot of work to stop that, right? So they Scheitelhau from the crown. It's easy to just withdraw. Just pull your hands back enough to clear. Point goes in. There's a thrust. Whereas on Einhorn, you've got them captured. They can still do that move, but you can knock it down. You're not so high up with the point. You have it trapped here, and you probably can turn the point. Your point is more of a threat. So before they can withdraw and thrust, you might be able to step back and do your wrist cut towards their arms to give them something to think about. So both a crown and an Einhorn, a unicorn, are good things to know. Have them in your toolbox to defend. When we talk about saber, there's the head parry, which is a similar kind of motion, right? You're catching the point on the strong, or the fort, if we're talking 19th century, and it's above your head, and you've got your knees bent, you're here, you've captured it, and it's a similar concept, except it's one-handed, so it goes this way. When you're doing this, your dominant hand, you point to your strong side, simply because Einhorn like this is a little more awkward. Still doable. You can still point, so in my case, left, because I'm right-handed. If you were left-handed, you might do it like that. Crown also, it depends on what side you can catch it on and different things that you can do. If you're just used to coming up in an Einhorn and then doing that cut from your strong side, without crossing your wrists, you have that speed, that mobility. It worked really well. So my advice to you is if someone is trying their Scheitelhau and they're just trying to snap over and cut to the top of your head, quick point on the fencing mask, whatever it is, bring your point up into the Einhorn in front of you, step back, and you can either wrist cut or you can probably drop the point and thrust. And it offers you an immediate chance to counter rather than being up with your point above your head, your pommel in front of your face, and then there's a lot more distance to cover, so the opponent will probably take advantage and try to thrust or wrist cut at you before you can do something. So, Einhorn, a little bit of an advantage over Kronhau. That's what I would recommend. So, crowns and unicorns. Which one wins? A unicorn with a crown on its head? Well, maybe. But learn both, try them out, and you'll probably see that, like me, yeah, this Einhorn move, this kind of unicorn's horn that comes out, it's not an ox, not from either side, it's kind of in the middle. Yeah, it's going to give you a little bit advantage. You can use that. You can defend and counter much more easily than if you just go straight up with your crown. But again, don't count out the crown, because if things go sideways and suddenly you need to defend, moving into that position, at least it stops that hit from occurring and gives you time to think. Alright friends, that's all I wanted to say for today. A little bit of advice, adding tools to your toolkit for longsword, or saber even, because you can use this head parry, which is a similar motion, not to point out quite so unicorn-like, but it works. You do it for an arming sword, single-handed stuff, two-handed stuff. It's useful to have different options for blocking attacks. You don't just use one defense. Have a few different defenses. Play around with them. See which one works best. Practice the one that you like best, that's most effective for you to stop and counter and interrupt your opponent, and use it. We're almost at 1,100 subscribers, by the way, which is really cool. Okay? Continue to grow a little bit by a little bit every single week, and it's awesome. And thank you for your subscriptions, your likes, and of course your comments, which help shape the content of the channel. And until next time, my friends, do remember, take care, stay safe, and keep on unicorning, swinging, something.